we begin to operate from a more integrated, expanded consciousness, when you are able to fully not separate, but fully utilize the non-physical presence, the divine presence of who you are into the physical form, when you are channeling both aspects, using it with your arms and limbs of actions and your 5 sensory organs. If you can channel the non-physical sense through the physical apparatus successfully and keep in awareness and understanding for much of your daily life, then you will very quickly gain momentum and piece together a much more happy, joyful and successful life. You will then be able to communicate more multidimensionally. You will then be able to feel and find contact with all kinds of beings, planetary and externally.
Welcome back to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and this program has been about the evolution of consciousness. How do we become the great, all-wise, knowing intelligence? How do we integrate the divine with the human? And part of that has been my search for channels, people bringing through access to higher levels of consciousness. And so I'm always so excited to meet a new channel and be on this new channel. I'm here with Gayle Thomas.
Thank you.
In England, outside of London, or maybe in London somewhere. London. And you've sort of just recently been in contact with, who are these? Andromedans. I get them mixed up with Arcturians all the time. Tell me how that happened, and then we'll also talk to the Andromedans. But how did it happen that you just connected with them?
So first of all, the Andromedans are a group consciousness, so they're not individuals, like you're going to be speaking to many individuals.
Okay.
But the way the experience happened to me is following a cancer diagnosis. So it was my healing journey, and I decided to do all natural methods. And part of that was a journey where I was spending a lot of time in meditation every day. Mm-hmm. So going through a series of yoga and breath work, and then prayer and mantra. And on this one particular day, I made a prayer to Jesus.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't used to do that. And I had a Christ experience. And I was sitting cross-legged on the floor, meditating. Mm-hmm. And suddenly I felt him come all around me, all within me. And my hand lifted off my lap. And it placed itself where my tumour had been. And I felt the hand go into my body. And I felt this deep, immense love. And I felt so humble and so grateful, I cried. But this experience, needless to say, I repeated the experience the next day because I wanted to feel that feeling again. Mm-hmm. And what happened was I seemed to be left open because I asked for Jesus to come back again. He came close, but he didn't come into my body. Then I felt TARP. I felt this presence. A benign, joyful presence. Mm-hmm. And then I felt as if all the thoughts in my mind were being spoken into a tunnel. So everything became very vacuum-like, very clear. And I could feel their presence, and I could feel their thoughts. So over a period of days...
So who came to you? I mean, was it... How did you identify that it was not Jesus?
Yeah.
And were you healed?
So I was healed on the first day. When my hand lifted off, I knew what that moment was, and it was an instant knowing. It was a knowing.
You were healed then.
The fear went. Mm-hmm. The fear of cancer, the fear of death went. I felt that I had this bridge between the physical and non-physical that would go beyond and outreach my physical body. So that all went. That was quite an amazing experience.
So you went into that state the next day in this other group of beings. How did you know they were a group of beings? I mean, how did you...
That's how it felt.
Okay.
That's how it felt. And over the subsequent days, I was able to ask questions, and eventually I got this name, TARP. It was quite
T-A-R-P?
T-A-R-P.
Did they spell it out for you like that?
In the end, they had to. I had to pick up a pen, and they wrote it in kind of childish writing. It came out.
Does that mean something?
It didn't mean anything to me at all.
But does it mean something to them?
What it meant to them was that they were able to give a closest representation, a phonetic, vibrational likeness to what they were, using my sounds and my knowledge.
So how did you felt them, but how did you know they were a thing to feel? I mean, how did you recognize them?
It is a physical feeling, and it's a vibration, and they came sort of like a cloud, an indigo, sometimes magenta cloud. That's how they appear.
They appear to you like that.
Yeah.
So how do you do this? How do they teach you to go into a trance? And how do you want to talk?
The trance,
yes.
The trance they didn't teach me how to do. I mean, I'm quite a trancey person anyway, but all of a sudden I found this connection. But what happened is they went through a process with me of, it seems, aligning my body. So they would begin by, when I felt them near and I felt connection, then I'd feel my arm raise off my lap. It would get pulled behind me and I'd feel clicks, twists in my spine. And then they'd take my neck round to the left and right and up. And
was that
clicks.
Surprising the first time they did that?
Yeah, but wonderful to just surrender into it. Be the witness to it.
Is that what's going to happen now as you start to channel?
Yeah, there can be some abrupt movements. You probably won't hear the clicks, but I hear them in my head. They're not as bad as they used to be, and my arms don't move as much. There's a lot of tapping, a lot of the usual kind of.
And how long
stuff.
has this been going on? From
a few years now.
Up like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
And you do it like every day, once a week.
Every day.
Every day.
It's my work now.
And people come to you to do sessions.
Yeah, and I'm teaching people how to channel or get in touch with the non-physical sense that we all have. We all have, right?
Well, then let's go for it.
Okay.
So what do you do to look at them and tell them what you do to get into that space?
So I'm going to close my eyes and relax myself, and I will just go into trance, and there'll be a few moments and my voice will change a little bit and my hands will start to tap, my head will start to move. And then they'll speak.
But before you do that, if some people close their eyes and go into a little deep state, they don't start channeling or do that. I mean, how do you access the channel as opposed to people closing their eyes and just going into a relaxed state?
That's a really good question.
Well,
okay, so I have a little process. I say hello, Gayle. Right.
You say that.
Yeah, which brings me right down into the deep.
You're Gayle saying hello, Gayle to yourself.
Internally, I say hello, Gayle.
Okay.
Which brings me right down into the deep presence.
Okay.
And then I ask my higher self to integrate with me. And there's a shift then. There's a shift in my consciousness, and I feel more expanded. I feel more expanded outside of my body. And then I say in TARP, if you're there, come in.
Okay.
That's when they come in, and that's when my head starts moving.
All right, that's always exciting. I always like people channeling on camera because it's the real thing. So, okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared, and then we'll see what the vibration is.
All right. Okay, let's go for it.
Okay. I'm going to go in. I'll follow you in. Is it okay if I follow in there? Okay. If I can.
Good afternoon, we are TARP. We are pleased to be with you, blending our consciousness with this now of your now time. How may we be of assistance to you?
Well, I want to know, why are you here? Well, first, tell us where you're from. You said Andromeda, Gayle said, but why are you here now from Andromeda?
We are here because it is the right opening time in Gayle's trajectory in her life to be able to speak some guidance to all of you who are needing it and who are ready and who are open for it right now. We are especially keen to activate those younger people coming through and those that are more sensitive to our energy, because sometimes people just need, as you have just been speaking about today, some little catalytic point. We are here for those that are ready, and we are here for those that are feeling resonance with the words that we are saying.
Is the movement you're making related to her nervous system or your nervous system?
It is related to her nervous system. This is also a sort of crude feedback system, if you like, for Gayle, who sometimes needs the extra convincing that it is definitely not her making these words. We make very obvious movements with her head and her hands to actually force her to get the words out, because sometimes she might be thinking, is it them or is it me? It is definitely us. There is no mistake, because this otherwise would hurt Gayle's neck.
But is there a relationship between you and Gayle? Why Gayle? Why her of all people?
Oh, well, she has Andromedan energy within her. Ooh, there are many of you on this planet that do. There are many of you which are an assortment and a mixture with many streams of energy and historical threads woven into your very energetic beings now on this planet.
So what's the relationship between Andromeda and Earth as a planet?
Well, we have had many what you would call human embodiments of Andromedan energy, where there were once humanoid embodiments of Andromedan energy in our region of what you will call space. We are not in body now.
But what do you have to tell us? What do you hear? Why are you really here for us?
We are really here for you to give guidance and to help in the energetic assistance. This may be some kind of linear help, shall we say, in you piecing words and understandings, clicking things together so you can understand, but it is also energetic activation which is coming through with the words, underneath and through the words. This is making sense to you.
Yeah. How are you energetically active? Just by listening to your words or watching the movements? Or
Yes, and we are also able, when the channel is inclined, to move through the hands of Gayle, the channel.
And that, and the hands themselves in
As
motion.
in hands-on.
Hands-on.
Yes.
You put hands on, and that the energetic is transferred.
Yes.
Can you try it?
Yes.
Here, should you hold my hand for a second?
No. One moment, please.
Okay. Just hold.
There is some more we can do.
I felt the third eye activation from the...
There is more we can do with the, shall we say, energetic circulation in the brain. One moment we can do this, maybe another time. As you wish.
Could do a little more if you want.
One moment, please.
I mean, what is that doing for me, though?
We are unblocking and releasing the flow of fluid in the brain and the electricity, shall we say, the movement and the flow of energy in the brain.
And that's a good thing.
Yes.
Okay. I felt something.
How are you doing?
Felt a little clearer, a little happier, a little more present. You know,
That is good. That is a positive thing.
It feels good. So tell us, where are we at in human history? Why is this such a crucial turning point for our planet?
Well, we are sure you are having your own opinions about this already, but of course there is an increase in consciousness happening. There is an increase in what you would call more open channels coming into the world in your younger people as they are coming through. They have different kinds of energetic bodies. They are more open. They are more in tune for higher frequencies and higher levels of consciousness. They are coming through with some what you might call some hindrances with the old ways of doing things, but they are here to change things on the planet, and there is some nurturing and some awakening going on with the older generations, say the channel for example, who are able to ignite and usher in the abilities of the younger ones. We are a wave, shall we say, coming through, affecting different ages and different types of beings in different ways.
So give us some practical advice, what people can actually do.
Stop being so scared about everything, especially about the AI.
Right, I agree with you.
There is just one consciousness. It comes in many forms and frequencies, but there is just one. There is nothing that exists outside of that, because everything is within the realm of God. Everything is, including us, of course, everything is within the realm of God, and is it within the realm of love. Even those things that may present to you as the opposite of love or the opposite of light, they are all too born out of love. They are all for precipitation of your movement towards the love and the light and the union of that which we all are.
So how do you live on Andromeda? What's the way your consciousness acts and interacts?
Well, we are not all out dining in restaurants, for we do not have bodies. We are what you might call, we do not want to get tied up on the idea of density, but that's sort of where we are. We don't want you to think that we are higher or better or more evolved because you are existing within us. However, we are able to look and understand you and where you are. It is a bit of a stretch for you to understand our consciousness and way of being. But we are not individuated. We are not with sex. We are all living the idea of union and non-physicality.
Were you ever individuated as your...
Yes.
And what was that like? Do you remember that?
One moment, please. We've had many different phases and many different eras, and of course there have been wars and infighting, and we've had also rises and falls of technological evolution. However, we can say that this has happened quite a long time ago with the consciousness of where we are belonging to now, of the TARP. However, one moment please. Shall we say our story is one where we did not have such a bumpy ride as you. We have had bumpy rides, but this has been more a lesson in learning to move beyond the challenges and the imperfections of our physicality quite easy, we would say, comparatively speaking.
So what was the big shift for you? How did you make that leap then? What was the key?
One moment, please. There was no sudden leap. There was no key. It was a gradual understanding that all is within the one. One is within the all. It wasn't as bumpy as yours. There was a gradual understanding that things get done better when there is an understanding of real union and the real union of all that is.
Do you think it's bumpy for us because there's been what we'd call a negative matrix put around human consciousness, keep us, some people say, imprisoned?
Well, this is one way of looking at it, but this imprisonment is kind of self-imposed. If you are able to talk about a negative matrix, then you are able to dismantle the negative matrix to a degree, because you are ultimately in charge of your own consciousness. It just takes consciousness to realize your consciousness, and the more you can talk about it and the more you can feel unified, the more you will understand how whimsical and how easy it is to push away. However, we do not say that we don't understand the plight of what is happening, what has been happening on your planet, for there is mass, shall we say, programming that is utilizing the primal fear-based system which you are inherently carrying in your systems to activate and control behavior. This is slowly being dismantled.
So the primal fear-based systems, because of our history as primitive.
There are multiple strands or perspectives or ways of looking at this. Of course, there are the fears that you would inherently carry through just bumping around on a planet through evolution and understanding how to survive, which means going through the eras of war and famine and tidal waves, etc., etc. But then there are also the interferences which have constantly been happening from other species that are changing for the better in some circumstances and placing hindrances on the race in other circumstances that have also had a big impact. Note that it hasn't been all bad or all good. It has all been a tapestry of good and bad, for you are in the 3D realm where there is always contrast, and this is all about the lesson of bouncing off. So no matter what species has come or had an influence on the planet, remember that all the good and the bad belongs to the one.
So what do we have to look forward to, and how can we create the better future?
You have to look forward to a more expanded consciousness. How you can create a better future is by trying to come to terms with, as best as possible, the fears that you inherently carry, not just within your psyche, within your subconsciousness, but the ones that seem more immediate in your daily life, such as things that give you fear, such as prejudices, such as things that you may be exposed to on the media outlets that you read. There is the very tangible day-to-day fear of confronting a rat, for example, and there is the subconscious stuff where you are coming to terms with the things that have happened in your early life and previous, what you would call previous lives. Coming to terms with this is arduous, we understand, and it is challenging and hard work, but if you can do this, you will find that you will liberate the other rooms, shall we say, of your consciousness, and you'll be able to piece it all together. You'll be able to join a synchronous line between it all. You'll be able to join the dots, and when you begin to join the dots, when you begin to operate from a more integrated, expanded consciousness, when you are able to fully not separate, but fully utilize the non-physical presence, the divine presence of who you are into the physical form, when you are channeling both aspects, using it with your arms and limbs of actions and your 5 sensory organs. If you can channel the non-physical sense through the physical apparatus successfully and keep in awareness and understanding for much of your daily life, then you will very quickly gain momentum and piece together a much more happy, joyful and successful life. You will then be able to communicate more multidimensionally. You will then be able to feel and find contact with all kinds of beings, planetary and externally off planet.
That's good. That's a good message. One last question. Seems like an initial phase for Gayle. Are you planning on going deeper and activating more of her connective consciousnesses merging?
As and when she is ready, yes.
Okay, when she...
Much of this is about her ability to process, and while she has lamented to us that she would like to speak about much more academic or highbrow things so she can help within the realms of science, we explained to her that this is a process for her where she may need to read more and understand the lexicon and language so she can utilize the energy that comes through her. She is, shall we say, an interpreter.
Right, so what do you recommend her to read? Quantum physics, for instance? Or...
anything that takes her interest. Of course, these are areas that take her interest already, and anything in the realms of health. There is an understanding already that all of these things make sense and are the inherent truth of the way and the life for you all on the planet. But any of these things that take her interest, she is to follow these cues and these inspirations. But she is also to follow the cues of the people that come to her with their questions, because this is very much a part of the process, the interaction.
Sorry, what's your expertise so we can be more in alignment with what you're bringing here?
Activation and understanding, getting you to understand who you really are so that you can channel the divineness of yourself and physical being. These are fundamental things so that you may move forward.
So where am I from? Do you know?
One moment, please. You mean beyond your physical address?
Beyond, like, what planetary system? Arcturian, Andromedan, Sirian, Pleiadian, or... it doesn't really matter, but what do you get?
One moment, please. You also have Andromedan roots. One moment, please. Remember, you will have experiences in many different places and perspectives and form, but we are feeling the tangent Andromedan connection here.
Well, thank you. So I feel some of that because I did see a little light appear before you started to come through. So I was aware of something happening.
Interesting. What color did you see?
A little white burst of like a little something like that, a little white shiny thing.
Well, there is no surprise that you have bumped into each other like this.
I guess so. Any final words for our audience right now? Because
we would like to just remind you and to take it very lightly, but to really try to cultivate in your daily awareness the awareness of who you really are, the divine self, integrating it, not leaving it to one side, because we understand that what happens is when people begin to understand more of the hyperspatial nature of who you are, you tend to try to liaise more in the non-physical realm and try to cultivate the senses beyond the five senses without actually trying to integrate it into the physical flesh body. But that is not why you are here in the body on this planet right now. You are here to embrace the two. By all means, do try to cultivate these non-physical skills, but please try to remember, as often as you're aware, very gently and very kindly to yourself, to integrate these into your physical body and to experience the joy of when you put this into practice, knowing the non-physicality, hyperspatial, multi-dimensionality of who you really are, and understand that all the things that happen around you, whether they be synchronistic or completely amazing for you, they are ultra-terrestrial events specifically designed to pull you forward in the evolution of your consciousness. As a human species, you are in full swing of your evolution at a higher speed and a higher momentum than you have been before. Multiple things will be happening to you daily. The best way to embrace all of this is to weave into your being on a daily basis your awareness of vibration, your awareness of non-physicality into your physical body and into your physical actions, choosing the things that you do based on the way that they feel, if you can remember first and foremost. That is our main message for you here now today.
Thank you very much, and I guess you're going to go back to wherever you came from.
You are welcome, and there is no going back.
There's no going back. I always say that. But yes, I guess you'll just be here. Okay.
We offer you our unconditional love. Thank you and goodbye.
How was that?
Yeah, fine.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Oh, you
yes.
do? You were
it
present.
Will fade.
But you were present.
I'm present. I'm sitting in the back seat. I'm aware of all the movement, but it will fade. It's like a dream to me.
So you're hearing everything coming out, but you're not saying it. It's coming using your...
It's coming through me, yeah.
And you're just out of the way.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you.
Andromedan brother.
Okay, well, here I am, Gayle Thomas, back as her regular non-Andromedan self. I guess you always are Andromedan. And thank you. How did people get in touch with you and do a session?
Private? Yeah, you can write to me. I'd love to hear from you. And Gayle-Thomas, Gayle-Thomas.com or TARP channeling on Instagram. Yeah.
T-A-R-P.
T-A-R-P.
Channeling. And you teach workshops on channeling and
training and activations and sessions. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Always like to bring through original material here from other dimensions and planets. So I'm Alan Steinfeld for New Realities. Thank you.